This is John Paul Wright. I'm coming to you from Tokyo, Japan, and I want to talk a little bit more about Evan Rachel Wood's segment on Good Morning America, and I want to read the opinion of Marilyn Manson on Canceled because he thinks they actually did a pretty good job, and who am I to disagree with him? He is one of the people who knows so much about this case. He writes like 10 to 12 page articles about evidence, debunking things, so I will take his opinion pretty seriously on it. So let's see what he says. I thought Good Morning America did a good job in their segment. It was short as expected, but they challenged her and made her comment on Manson's lawsuit, which was basically just an affirmation of her own side of the story. When they show her face as her own allegations are read, including being forced to drink Manson's blood, it is interesting to see because it sounds silly when you hear it and not say it. The calling and cutting 158 times was brought up and will be talked about in part 2 of Phoenix Rising, but I have already debunked that. Overall, it prompted the documentary, but made people aware there is another side to the story. And I was thinking the same thing when I saw it, because before I saw it, I thought it was just going to be, I almost said Amber. I almost call her Amber. Okay, I thought it was going to be, Evan Rachel Wood's side and only her side, and the person who was doing the interviewing would be sympathetic and be like, oh yeah, I'm so sorry you're abused. That's probably true, with maybe one little hint that it wasn't true to give some kind of balance to their opinion before the verdict in court actually comes out. However, they actually, during the segment, played Marilyn Manson's opinion and his defense. So it starts off where Evan Rachel Wood tells her part. Obviously, she's all serious and she's got to talk about survivors and how the world really is. And then they show some clips of her bad acting from Westworld, and I think some movie called 13, which I've maybe vaguely heard of, but I don't think so. So she hasn't really been in any big blockbusters. She never made A-list actor status. That's what she really wants. She wants to make that A-list actress status. So she wants to get her name out there, so maybe somebody who could possibly hire her will see this and remember her. And, she's been on The View now, Good Morning America, HBO, so her plan so far as that is working. And then they go to the part where she has the confession in front of Congress, and I don't think that's such a special thing. I've seen political pundits and things like that go to Congress, and it's probably something you sign up for and wait for. I don't know for sure, but it's not something where they thought she had a good case and they made a special exception to see her. Then they recap the fact that she named him after a certain amount of time, not immediately. Then, of course, they mention Phoenix Rising. Very, very terrible design there, by the way, just from a design standpoint. They've got like the feathers there and her shadowy face looking all serious in the wind, kind of, but it's an ugly color and an ugly picture. So we have kind of a contradiction here. I mentioned that she said they never actually had this kinky sex, this bondage, and stuff like that. Well, that means they only had normal sex. But she's accusing him of the R word and things like that. So she's saying that they just had like normal sexual relations, but then sometimes he just went crazy and became a monster and did all this stuff. So it just doesn't really make sense. And in this interview, she kind of contradicts things that she's accusing him of. Not directly, but if you put a few pieces together and think about it just a little bit, she's saying they just had normal sexual relations. So that's kind of what he's also saying. It was just normal or consensual. But now, here's the interesting part, is that they do say she's being accused of coordinating the attacks. Now, I gotta wonder if she knew they were gonna hit her with this and play this before coming on the show. I guess either way, she would have gone for the promotion, and she knows that most of it, like 80%, 90%, is her talking time anyway. but it could have been they kind of threw this at her. And they read the most important part is she impersonated an FBI agent in a fictitious letter. That's yet to be fully proven, but it's a hell of a thing to just make up. So we shall see how that one goes. And of course, they mention Ilma Gore and that she was a co-conspirator along with some other women, which is important because Ilma Gore was probably the one who gave Evan Rachel Wood the push to get this rolling, get this out there. And when I think about my life and people I know, and you think about people you know, a lot of times when someone is kind of the good person or the person following the rules and things, what happens is they meet an influencer and they change. So it would seem that Evan Rachel Wood wasn't accusing Marilyn of this abuse. And then when she met Ilma Gore was like, hey, name Marilyn Manson. Let's go for this thing. Just like, the good student will meet the bad student in school and they'll both become the bad student and start throwing rocks at windows and stealing candy and things like that. So anyway, like Marilyn Manson on Cancel was saying, they did a decent job of coverage. So it was better than I expected, I'll say. I expected it to be pretty much all for Evan Rachel Wood, an HBO ad, promotion for the documentary, stuff like that. But they threw in the important parts that Brian's using to defend himself. You guys let me know what you think down below. Doing pop culture, cyber news, stuff like that. If you're not subscribed here, consider it. If you don't subscribe, I guess I'll be sad, but I'll get over it. See you next time.